What if the most important lesson you've ever learned about money has absolutely nothing to do with banks or budgets or any of that stuff? Today, we're going to dive into this really powerful idea that suggests real financial wisdom, well, it begins a lot earlier and in a much simpler way than you'd ever think. So, this is the statement that's at the heart of this whole thing. And I get it. You might be thinking, hold on, sharing an apple is more valuable than understanding my 401k? Really? But just stay with me here. The argument is that the real roots of financial health aren't buried in spreadsheets, but in simple, everyday actions just like this one. Okay, so let's picture this. The author's watching their little girl who's just 16 months old at the dinner table. She's got a sliced apple in front of her. And what happens next is what sparks this entire totally different way of looking at money. So in this really simple, unprompted moment, the toddler just starts handing out a piece of her apple to everyone at the table before she even takes a single bite for herself. Now, this wasn't some trick she was taught or a lesson she learned from a book. It was a value she just soaked up, just by watching and mimicking what she saw every single day. And that's the light bulb moment. That's when it clicks. The realization that this small, selfless act wasn't just about sharing a snack. No, it was a profound lesson in managing resources, in community, in value, the actual core of what financial literacy is all about. So let's really dig into what was going on here, because it's so much more than just a cute family moment. This was education happening in its purest, most powerful form. Think about it. In that moment, she wasn't just sharing an apple. She was learning these huge, fundamental principles. She learned that a single resource can actually benefit a whole group of people. She was experiencing the joy that comes from giving, and she was absorbing a core value. You should think about others first. I mean, this is the very foundation of how we learn to handle our resources, isn't it? And this is where we get into a series of questions that just completely flip our conventional wisdom on its head. First up, what if these small, seemingly insignificant moments at home are actually the most critical lessons in finance our kids will ever get? And the idea just keeps building. I mean, what if learning to be responsible with something small, like a snack? What if that's the literal training ground for being responsible with much, much bigger things down the road, like a salary or an inheritance? And here's the question that really just ties it all together. What if the values we model in these tiny daily interactions are what truly shape the entire financial mindset our children carry with them into adulthood? I mean, how they view their wealth, their assets, and their place in the world. This brings us right to the core argument here. It's proposing a complete paradigm shift, moving the whole focus of financial literacy away from the mechanics of money and onto the foundation of, well, character. This slide just lays out the two models perfectly. So on the left, you've got the conventional wisdom, right? It usually starts later in life with things like opening a bank account. It's all about the how, counting, budgeting, the mechanics. But then look at the right side, the dining table wisdom. It starts from the earliest age with simple acts of sharing. The focus isn't on coins, it's on character. It teaches the why behind money, the values of generosity, responsibility, and community. And here it is, the main takeaway. And it's a powerful one. True financial literacy doesn't begin with counting coins. It begins with building character. It's not about the numbers first. It's about shaping the person who will one day be in charge of those numbers. And that shaping, it's happening right now, at home. The whole point is that kids are like sponges. I mean, long before they even understand what a dollar is, they are absorbing our actions. They see how we share, they see what we value, and they see who we help. And those are the lessons that really, truly stick. So to wrap all this up, let's turn this lens back on ourselves for a second. The source leaves us with this final challenge that makes this all incredibly personal. Just think back for a minute. What was your first real lesson about this stuff? It probably wasn't about interest rates or stock portfolios, right? Was it about sharing a toy? Or maybe saving up your allowance for something you really wanted? Or just seeing a parent give something to someone in need? What was that first foundational lesson for you? And then the last question, who taught you that lesson? Chances are it wasn't a banker or some financial advisor. It was probably a parent or a grandparent or maybe a teacher. And that, right there, might just be the most powerful proof of this entire idea.